Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I apologize if you were live and you saw my last live. I went live and then I accidentally turned it off. So thank you, Mercury. Happy Mercury retrograde. Hope it is treating you guys well. Today we're talking about busyness. And I made a little joke even with my team when we were putting this post together because it automatically corrects as business, right? And today's about rising above the busyness. Busyness in your business is a thing. And I think it's something that people tend to get nervous about in either direction, right? You're nervous if you're too busy, you're nervous if you're not busy enough, based on whatever that means to you. And it's just something that all of these live topics come from conversations with clients, themes that I'm noticing across clients, things that I notice in my business and other people's businesses, in my clients' businesses. And this is one, I mean, I could do a whole series on busyness. But I wanted to speak today about this topic because I'm also noticing it's the beginning of October, now that we're recording this, and I'm noticing that this time of year tends to have a new refresh of busyness, activity, movement, commitments as late August and September, the last 6 weeks or so has been, if you have kids, you're back to school in some form or fashion. People that take summer vacations are back. I took a lot of vacation this summer and my brain has felt in the last 6 weeks like I'm kind of back on a new year schedule, right? Like there's January, there's different times of the year where things kind of pick back up after a little slowdown. And this is that time of year, I think that's happening. And then pretty soon we're going to be scrambling, if you're not already, to start, doing things by the end of the year, whether that's holiday season time, and a lot of people add extra commitments to themselves, or if you're a business owner and you have goals that you want to meet by the end of the year, that's certainly top of mind right now. So it felt like a good time to talk about busyness. Let me know if you're live. Let me know if you're here. I'm going to just check the comments here. Let me know that you're here. Say hi. I will say hi back. Let me know if you've got questions or comments as we go. As always, I have plans for what I want to talk about, and I will adjust accordingly based on who's here live. So when it comes to being busy, I first actually want to start by just talking about this concept of being busy, because it's kind of a construct, right? What is busy for me in my business, in my personal life, may not be busy to you. It's your own, sorry, I'm shaking the table. It's your own definition of what's busy. And what I find is the mindset around it. Hi, Alicia, welcome. She says, glad you're talking about it. Hi, I'm grateful to hear this. It's something I've been saying for a long time. Yes, awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So it seems to be, right, just like a lot of things in life, it actually kind of all boils down to your perception of something, right? So busyness in its natural state, for lack of a better word, busyness in essence is neither good nor bad. Neither good nor bad. Eckhart Tolle talks about all pain that we experience, actually, I think he calls it suffering. All suffering that we experience in life is due to our rejection of what is, our rejection of reality, our perspective or our perception on the thing that's in front of us that we evaluate as good or bad. If it's good, ooh, we're happy. If it's bad, oh, we're sad, right? Or we're unhappy, or we're stressed out, or whatever. But all of these things boil down in essence, easier said than done, not trying to oversimplify, but too simplified for a minute. Everything kind of boils down to like, what's going on in here, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about mindset today, but also I want to talk about the way that we put things into action in our business in a very practical, tactical way. Because to me, that's where busyness kind of we get thrown off around busyness. So if this concept of busy is neither good nor bad, then or maybe it could be good or bad, right? There's several ways to look at it. If it's actually neutral in essence, then isn't it up to us to pay attention to our mindset around it? What belief systems do you have around being busy? And what does being busy mean to you? Where's the value in it? Because I think in at least North American culture, for sure, I think there's other cultures in the world where this is absolutely the case as well. We highly value busyness, right? If somebody how many times have you had a conversation with someone and at least one of you answers the "how are you" question with, "Oh, I'm so busy," right? That's a way to answer how you're doing. It's a way, right? It's a way of life in so many ways. And again, the title of this is Rising Above Busyness, but the truth is, and I want to just set the stage up front here, busyness is neither good nor bad. There are times where I'm busy, my definition of busy, and I love it. There are times where I feel I am too busy for my comfort level or my natural, comfortable pace. And then there are times where I wish I was a little bit busier, right? I wish I had more things planned out or scheduled on my calendar from a work perspective or a life perspective. So getting clear on your sort of proclivity to what's too busy, what's not busy enough, where is it that you get more stressed out? I think most people have one or the other that stresses them out more, that makes them more nervous or more anxious. That's where some of your work is. For me, I spent years and years in the corporate world, and I, like many empaths, do not like to be rushed. I like everything to be calm and relaxed, and that's where I do my best work. And that was not a space where I thrived in. I did a great job. I actually was able to thrive there on paper or on the surface level, but underneath, I was freaking exhausted because I was pushing myself to operate at a pace that wasn't natural for me all the time. And so when I started this business, I swung the pendulum the other way. And I did everything really slowly, and I didn't want to be overwhelmed. And my concept of what was busy to me, or let's say it differently, my concept of what felt too busy for me when I looked at my calendar for most people, they would have been like, "Really, lady? That's all you're doing this week?" But I needed to swing the pendulum the other way to find that spaciousness for myself. And then over the years, I found something that for me is a nice in between. It's the right amount of busy where I feel comfortable that I'm doing the work that I want to be doing in the world, but I also have lots of space for myself. I have lots of space for creativity, lots of space to work with my team, all kinds of other things that I want to be doing. So let me just check the comments here. Okay, let me know if this is making sense. So if you're going to think about busyness in your business, the first thing to think about is really around what your definition, well, two things. What's your definition of busy? One of the things that I like to think about is when you think about your book of business, whether it's how many clients you're working with at a time, how many projects you have at a time, how many products or types of products you're attempting to get out by a certain time, just depending on your business model. When you think about that, what is happily full to you? What's happily full? So for me, there's a certain number of clients I like to work with. And once I hit that certain number of clients, I figured this out over many years of changing it up, more and less, adjusting my schedule over the years, and noticing what I felt like. I ask my clients this a lot, like, what does it feel like when you open up your calendar for the week, like on a Sunday or a Monday, and you look at your calendar for a week? How does it feel? What's too much? What's too little? Finding that Goldilocks, just right for you is really, really, really important. So what's your happily full schedule? And there's no definition in reality of what's happily full. It's what's happily full for you. Some people are working 40 hours in their business. Some people want to work more. Some people want to work 20 hours a week. Some people want to work 5. There's no judgment. This is your business. You run it the way you want. And when you determine how much space you have to work, right? Maybe you have a family, maybe you've got a second business, maybe you've got other things going on. When you determine what it is that you have space for this business that makes you feel happily full, then you get to start to make decisions based on, okay, well, this is happily full. So am I going to max out this week? Am I going to max out next month? Am I going to max out this year? Or am I going to stay happily full? I'm going to work a little bit less than happily full, right? Finding that sweet spot for you, I think, is what gives you the ability to rise above the busyness, because then your busyness level is what feels good to you. Again, for me, I tend to get more stressed out if I'm what I consider to be too busy. I have a lot of clients that are on the other end of the spectrum, where if they are deeming themselves to be not busy enough, whether that means you don't have enough clients, and so therefore you have to fill the space with doing 75 things in your business behind the scenes so that you can fill up your time. Whatever it is, that makes them more nervous, right? So where do you fall on the continuum? What makes you more nervous? And where can you help yourself shift your mindset so that you can bring yourself back to the middle? I don't mean the middle of anyone's definition. I mean the middle, which is a happily full feeling for you, where you don't get anxiety in your body when you look at your calendar, right? When you look at your calendar and you're like, ooh, cool. That looks great. Can't wait to have this week. Okay. I'm just checking my notes here. The other thing that I find is this concept of busyness, and I'm going to be talking about this a little bit later, this sort of habitual momentum, this habitual high-paced life that a lot of us have been in, whether it was by desire or not. I can blame my corporate career all I want for that, but it's all really based on how I was viewing that pace for me, how I got stressed out by certain paces of life for me. But we are often in a habit, good, bad, or otherwise, of working a lot or doing a lot. And that's not always going to take you to where you want to be. It often can be too busy. Too busy can often be an opportunity to procrastinate in reality on things that actually need attention. So what I find oftentimes is I'll have a client that's got a mindset issue around X. And so they'll shift and put all their attention on doing. When the truth is, if they would just take a minute and focus on their mindset, that's going to actually get them where they're looking to go, right? So the doing, the too much doing, the high level activity, the momentum of just doing, running. I have had numerous times over the years, I have to force myself to take a lunch. I have to put it in my calendar. I have to force myself to honor that which is on my calendar, because I will go, oh, cool, an hour. Yeah, I can eat lunch in 15 minutes. I'll just do this other thing that I want to work on, right? How does that affect my body? How does that affect my pace when I'm going? And I'm not taking a moment to focus on eating my food, to focus on refueling my body, to take a little break and then get back to work, right? It's a habit. This rushed busyness is a habit. It can come from a survival mode energy, which I'm going to talk about in a future live. But that's where people call me and say, my business is running me. I'm not running my business. I've built and created this thing that is so much effort to sustain that I'm wearing myself out. And so what we do is we come back and we untangle the things that don't need to happen. If you're building your business, think about it in terms of, am I building something that's sustainable? Am I building a process? Am I building a system? Am I building a way of scheduling my life that's sustainable? Yes, you always need to update systems, teams, processes, schedules as you up level and as your business grows and then expands, but is what you've got right now going to support you at the next level? Those are the ways that we allow our business to run ourselves, and getting into this habit of busyness, or what I would call too busy, this feeling of being too busy, and having so much to do that we can't get back to the things that we want to do or the things that we say are our top priorities. That's the habit and the theme that I see in so many of my clients. I've seen it in my own business. And I think it's really important, before we go any further, to just remember constantly, remember to pause. Remember to stop, because what happens is the momentum of anything, just like a negative thought process, right? What are they called? Abraham Hicks talks about the hills in San Francisco, where if you have a limiting belief or a fearful thought, if you're in a car at the top of a San Francisco hill and you allow it to get momentum, boom, it's going down the hill. You can't stop it. You can't like mantra your way out, right? That same feeling of momentum happens in our busyness, in our habits, in our ways of just starting the day and like productivity, got to check this off, got to call this person, got to do, run, rush, right? So it's important to stop. It's important to pause, to take time out, to recognize what's happening so that you can make a change, and to remember that you are in charge, to remember that you are in choice. The truth is, your business is only running you. Your life is only running you. And people do this in their work. They do it for sure in their personal lives. Those of you who have kids, I don't know how you do it. I have a hard time sometimes managing my own life and those loved ones around me. I don't know how you do it. So, and you can do it, and it is doable. And I see people do it all the time, and I have clients that do it. But when you feel, I know a lot of times parents feel like they're, particularly of little ones, their lives are running them, right? Their family is running them. The truth is, you are always in charge and you are always in choice. I'm going to say that again. You are always in charge and you are always in choice. This is your life. This is your business. And you always have an opportunity to make a change, to make a choice, to prioritize something different. You are in charge and you are in choice. So with that, we talked about this idea of your own definition. I love that, in choice. Yes, you are in choice for sure. And so often I find that when we get ourselves wrapped around something, whether it's a stressor, whether it's our schedule, whether it's a relationship, whatever it is, yes, there are things we don't have control over, but we're always in charge of ourselves, which means that we always have choices, even if we choose not to realize or see that we have a choice in this moment, right? So oftentimes we'll tell ourselves, I don't have a choice. I have to do this. This is the way it has to be. Sometimes that's not true. Sometimes that's not true, and we forget or fail to realize in a certain moment that we have a choice, including the choice not to recognize that choice, right? That's actually a quote somewhere. Okay, so number one, understanding what is busy, happily full for you. I'm going to speak mostly about your business today, but obviously this applies to your life as well. So in your business, in your workday, what is happily full for you? starting there, because so many people are busy or too busy. I personally like to be busy when I'm happily full, when I have the right amount of work. So I like that level of busy. So again, I don't want to evaluate and judge the concept of busyness as bad, because it isn't necessarily bad. But what's your definition of good busy? What feels good to you? So oftentimes what we do is we just say yes to things willy-nilly, particularly if somebody asks us. And then we'll put on hold those things that we had planned for ourselves or our businesses or our families or our lives or our partners. So when we start first with what we know to feel good, that is busy, the right level of busy, then you can start to make priorities around what you actually legitimately have time to do. Because I bet you $1 million if you sit down with your business priorities and then you sit down with just the amount of time you're willing to dedicate to your business each week, it's going to automatically move things to the back burner. Because you're going to look at that list of priorities and you're going to look at the amount of time that you have, and they're not going to match. And that's okay. That's the first thing. It's 9 times out of 10, the first thing I do with my clients when we talk about this topic is we take things off the list to do. We take things off the to-do list. You can actually be more productive and more efficient and way more effective by trying to do fewer things at once. And when you have your big business priorities, 1 or 2 top priorities, everything lines up with those, including your schedule. Okay. And that means tough choices. That means saying no to people, even and the thing that I find so often, and I do this myself, is, let's say, for example, you used to offer a certain type of service or a certain type of product, or you did a special agreement with a client where you were going to do X service or sell them Y product. But now, fast forward, it's 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 3 years later, and that's not really what you do anymore. You do this over here. It might be some same version of the same thing. Now here comes that person asking you for the thing that you used to do. Are you going to do it? It's a choice point. There's no right or wrong. It's always a case in point exam, or a case by case example decision to make there. But if you can see how these choices get tougher and tougher because we feel like we've already made a commitment to someone. But when you make a commitment to someone, it's in the moment. It's for a specific period of time. Typically, it doesn't necessarily mean that you then owe them that product or service in perpetuity forever and ever and ever, right? But we get wrapped around the axle of like, yeah. Okay, I'll charge my new clients the rate that I should be charging, but with my old clients, I can't, right? The truth is you are in choice. These are your prices, or this service is what you offer and you don't do that anymore. And it's okay to tell somebody you don't do it anymore, or it's okay to find some sort of hybrid solution that you feel honors your former clients, your long-term clients, but supports where you are now. For example, I have a client who has been working with me for years. I've been in business for 4 years. She's maybe been with me for 3 or more of those years. I don't charge her the same rate that I charge my existing clients, but I do raise her rate every year. So for example, and actually I've got a couple of clients in that bucket. So for example, that's a way that feels right to me, where I'm not continuing to charge a rate that I created based on the skill set and the experience and the service that I offered back then, because I'm doing my now service with them, right? But it still honors the fact that we created an agreement back then, and I'm not, pushing the envelope on the other side. That feels good to me, right? What is your hybrid solution? So again, when you have these priorities, right? And this is about anything, right? I'm trying to throw in a few examples. This is about pricing. This is about your schedule. This is about the types of products and services that you offer. And the hardest part is knowing what to say yes to and knowing what to say no to. But when you have those top priorities, it gets so much easier, because anything that's not that top 1 or 2 priorities gets backburnered, gets said no, gets pushed to later. That's how you line up those decisions. That's how you plan your life. That's how you plan your work schedule. You make a big blanket decision and then you line everything up. So it's your schedule. It's what does your team focus on? What do other micro decisions come under that macro decision? What else now goes to the back burner list? And again, what are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? Because if you have these top 2 priorities, you're saying yes to them and no to pretty much everything else. Or no, not now, which always makes me feel better because I like to keep things open. But it's important to stick to a decision that you've made as well. You can always make a change. You can always add more later. But if these are your top 1 or 2 priorities, that means priority 3 gets backburnered. Priority 3 becomes later. It doesn't mean that it's not important. It's just not the top priority. And then you get to make the tough decisions of saying yes to things and no to things. Alicia says, I'm a big yeser. And what I love to do is on hold, right? Because somebody asked you. So you feel like you have to people please, say yes. And there's a real mental construct that we have around no's. I think we're quite afraid of no's as a society. But a no isn't, it's, a no can also be a yes in disguise. I'm saying no to priority 4 because I'm saying yes to priority 1, right? I'm saying no to the wrong romantic partner because I'm saying yes to the space that I hold for the right one for now to come in, right? I'm saying no to working with this professional or working with this coach because I'm saying yes to finding the person that matches my needs now. My nephew, when he was little, we used to laugh, but it was really quite precious. You could say no, the word no, in a very benign setting, but the word no was very triggering to him and he'd get very upset, very anxious very quickly. And it was, I mean, when little kids do funny things, it's funny, but it was very highly anxiety producing for him to just hear the word no, even if it wasn't someone telling him no, don't do that, right? If it wasn't a discipline thing, the word no used to stress him the F out. And I sense that energy a lot when in my life, in my business, when I work with my clients, because that same energy of like, I don't want to say no to someone. What if I have a discovery call with a client and they say no? But the truth is, like, life is full of yeses and no's don't have to be bad. No's are actually beautiful because it means we're making choices, we're making decisions which move us forward one way or the other, right? It doesn't feel good all the time when a client that you really want to work with says no. It doesn't feel good when I can never talk about business without also talking about romantic partnerships, right? Because I just find they're so similar. It doesn't feel good when somebody we're in love with tells us that they don't want to be with us anymore, right? But it's going to further us because in truth, what you don't want for yourself in life is to be with a partner who's kind of meh about you, right? What you really don't want in your business is to work with people who are kind of meh about you. What you really don't want in your business is to provide products to people who are kind of meh about them, right? We want to find the energetic match in a romantic partnership, in a client and client service practitioner relationship, in a team support relationship, in a, what was my other example? I mean, in the person who cleans your house, you want to find the right, person alignment for yourself. And that changes over time. But when you come back to priorities, when you come back to, wait a minute, hold on a minute, I've been given these beautiful opportunities. How could I possibly say no to them? But they don't line up with the priorities that I've set for my business. And this is where a lot of people get pulled out of whack, and where a lot of people have a slower progress towards their goals than they would like, because there's a fear of sticking to those one or two priorities. Because what if they don't work? What if they were wrong? What if I'm supposed to do it this way? Right? We'd second guess ourselves. We want to people please. We want to say yes to things. And so then, to use Alicia's words, then we're so busy doing all these other things that we put on hold what we love. We put on hold what's important to us. We put on hold self-care. We put on the back burner. We do it later. But really, how long can you do it? When can you do it later? Right? But we say yes to other people. We say yes to other things, yes to other opportunities, yes to people asking for help. Come on, where's my empaths out there? Where's my people pleasers, right? Where's my helpers? I'm right there with you. We want to help. That's part of who we are, but we can't help people so much that we lose ourselves in the process, because then the oxygen mask thing is operating, right? If you're not taking care of yourself, you can't properly, effectively help others, because you're freaking wearing yourself out. Where can you find your busy pace? Whatever is an appropriate pace of busyness for you. How can you find more peace in your schedule? How can you find more peace in your day? For some of you who are creatives and like to live by flying by the seat of your pants, and you really like your freedom, I feel you, I see you, I am you. And I'm sorry to tell you that one of the things that I have found to be the most powerful for me in my business, and it's now trickled into my life, and I see this also with my clients, this is one of my favorite things to work on with my clients, is that when you give yourself a structure and a routine that works for you, right? People talk about time blocking, but you don't have to do it the way that other people do it. Do it in a way that feeds you and supports the way that you work in a thriving, in a way that supports you so that you can work and thrive. When you have routines, when you have structures in place, it's like you make that, again, you're making a priority decision. I have these one or two priorities in my business. Everything else is secondary. That means my schedule lines up to those one or two priorities. That means I can more easily plan my days and predict my workload, because I know that I'm focused on these one or two priorities, and when in doubt, whatever's third gets bumped, right? So then I can plan my day with the appropriate amount of time blocking and the appropriate amount of space for creativity, so that I don't every week have to plan out my work. I don't every day have to plan out, shit, what should I do today because I didn't do this yesterday. I can more realistically plan out my workload, which means that I'm feeling the right level of busy for me. What feels good to me? I got the good busy going on. I've got happily full going on, because I've made all these decisions in advance, and then I just execute my plan. And again, I am the last, I hate plans. I love to live my life sporadically. I love to live my life spontaneously. I am super type B. I am fly by the seat of my pants. I do not like to be limited by a detailed plan. But I plan out my work, and my team and I plan out our work. And I have a schedule, and I have a routine, and I have an agreement with myself about where areas can be flexible and where areas cannot be flexible. And it has given me so much freedom. And it has made it so much easier for me to know how many clients to book at a time. It's made it so much easier for me to commit to something like this Wednesday live. For somebody who does not appreciate, in general, my whole life, I have not appreciated routine. I've not appreciated discipline. I am like way happier to just like have my head in the clouds and be skipping through fields or swimming in the ocean, right? For me to say, those of you who have known me for a long time, it's crazy. But for me to say that is to give you that perspective that when you make those decisions and you stick to those routines, I have more freedom now than I ever have. And it makes it easier for me to make good money. It makes it easier for me to work with my team. It makes it easier for me to be there for my clients because I know what days I'm working with them. I know what days I'm doing what, and I know what days I've set aside to go and live my life and be free and go scuba diving, spend time with my boyfriend, drive on my scooter, hang out with my cat, see my friends, whatever it is that I'm doing. And then that pulls me out. Again, I'm not saying that I've got this all perfected, but I have found as a person who doesn't enjoy the busyness, who gets overwhelmed by too much, I found that prioritization and then sticking to it and building your calendar and your schedule around it is full freedom, baby. Full freedom. Okay, there's one other thing that I wanted to say. Let me know if this is making sense. Let me know if you have any questions. So come back to like what feels good in your body when you think about the best like schedule for you for a week. What does a good schedule feel like? How much is set? How much is open? How much is on your to-do list? I guarantee you, if you cut your to-do list in half, it's probably going to actually be reality, right? We have these grand ideas of the 75 things we're going to accomplish this week. And most people cannot accomplish what they set out to accomplish in 1 week because it was too aggressive. And then they get mad at themselves because they're not productive because they couldn't get their shit done, right? Set yourself up to succeed. Give yourself bite-sized, manageable tasks and to-do lists so that you can feel happy about checking them off and moving on. Find places and ways that you can interject more peace in your schedule. I have a client who meditates in the middle of every single day because that's how she pauses. That's how she breaks up the momentum, as we were talking earlier about the busyness, right? You could be super, but at least in the middle of the day, you know you're going to stop and pause and reset that energy and maybe have a slower afternoon, or at least a slower, let's say you meditate from 12 to 1, at least from 1 to 2, you'll be operating a little bit slower, right? Things will get a little bit more intentional. And that's really where I'm coming from. That's probably the biggest thing that I'm trying to get across here around this busyness thing is oftentimes, I think 9 times out of 10, the level of busyness that we are is not intentional. It's just by default. It's because we allow shit to happen and to pile up on us. And then we get mad at ourselves in type A fashion around, well, I wasn't productive and I procrastinated on this and I'm supposed to do this, send these things off to my accountant and I didn't do that. And I'm just bad and I can't get my shit together and I have too much to do. And now I'm busy and now I'm stressed out. So now I'm spending all this time worrying about it and trying to figure out how I'm going to do everything, right? When we can stop, when we can prioritize, and sometimes it's about reprioritizing, taking some things off the list and then reshuffling the things that need to fit. And then you can talk more quietly, right? Then you don't get so stressed out. And then you know that you're in charge of your life. You're in charge of your work. You're in charge of your schedule. You're in choice. And you know that you can make choices along the way. Again, it's not like most people don't make plans and then, easily follow them in perpetuity for the next 3 years. You still have to adjust as you go. But can you trust yourself to make the right decision for yourself, for your business now, based on what you have going on? and put things on the back burner list that are not top priority, and say no to people asking you for things, even offering you amazing opportunities, because they don't line up with your 1 and 2 priorities. Because what happens then, now we get into the energetics, right? We've talked about some of the practical stuff. We've talked about the mindset piece. And now what happens is when you line those things up, this is why you have to take action in your life and do mindset and healing work. I do both with my clients. We talk tactical, practical, we talk business strategy, and we talk mindset. Because what happens is when one of those isn't given attention, the problem typically does not hit just one. It's not typically, oh, I have a problem with my schedule. Well, the reason you have a problem with your schedule is because there's something going on in your mindset, right? Or your business strategy is too open and it's incorporating too many priorities, and you just can't, kind of get traction on any of them, right? So we keep going back to the basics of having your strategy, having your mindset cleaned up around that, and then getting things that are practical, tactical, like your schedule, to line up to that, right? So when we do that, I lost my train of thought. So when we do that, strategy, mindset, practical, then what happens magically when you do this type of work is the energetics start to shift as well. I would argue the energetic shift when you change your calendar, never mind if you change your business strategy or if you change your mindset. But when they're all lining up, that's when the beauty of the energetics kick in, because then you are so aligned to those top priorities in action, in mindset, right? You've done the work around whatever it is that's holding you back. Then you're super vibing with what you say that you set out to do. And it's so much easier to attract the right team members to support you, attract the right clients or customers to purchase your products or services, to attract the right collaborations and colleagues to work with, the right business opportunities, the right next project, the right investor, whatever it is that you're looking for or looking to do, the energetics line up so much easier when everything is lined up. And that's when the magic happens. And then again, it's not like, okay, I got it, and then I'm done for the rest of my life. No, but you now know what it feels like to be aligned completely across every level of your business, in your mind, in your body, in your soul, in your spirit, in your energy field. And then you start to realize when it doesn't feel right. And that's when you get those magic moments of like, I have to make a change. My strategy needs to be tweaked, or I need to make a change to my schedule because it doesn't feel right anymore. I felt so good at the right, perfect pace for me for so long. And now all of a sudden I've got too much to do. Or now all of a sudden I'm a little bored. I don't have enough to do. I haven't figured out like what I want to do to fill. I need to fill my time slots that I've set aside for work. I want to fill them with X type of client or Y type of product development, whatever it is. Okay, I'm going to check the comments. I'm wrapping up here, but I just want to make sure there are no other comments. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back soon. Well, soon, I do this every week. I'm going to come back and talk about a couple of things like the energy of survival mode, which is very closely related to this topic, right? We get stuck in these habits of busyness, right? Sometimes we do that from a space of survival. Sometimes we do that from a space of fear. Sometimes we do that from a space of pleasing other people. So we've got too many things on your list that aren't actually for you. Let me just check the comments here. So, okay, perfect. So this is going to continue to be a topic that I speak about. If you're live or on the replay, let me know if there's something that you're dealing with around this topic that you'd like me to speak on a little bit more. I can build it into next week's call, or even a call. I always call these calls next week's live, or even the week after. This is a subject that's really near and dear to my heart. This is something that I think is really important to always be reminded of. This is something I've had to work on myself. That you can find your right pace for you, and run your business on your own damn terms. Thank you so much for joining me. Next week, what am I talking about next week? I think, next week is about running your business on your own terms. That I did my own segue. And I want to encourage you guys, if anybody's interested in chatting with me about what it might be like to do some business coaching. I am filling my slots for the rest of the year, and I'm already about halfway booked for January as well. So if you're interested, hop on a call with me sooner rather than later. You don't necessarily need to be ready to start coaching right away, but I am starting to fill my slots, and so I'm just getting the word out there that sooner rather than later to hop on a call and make some decisions would be helpful, because I am filling up again. Well, I'm full, but I'm filling up my next level of slots for the future months. So, because I'm happily full, to use my term a minute ago. Okay, so if you have questions, if you want to hop on a free call to see if my style and whatever's going on in your business makes sense to come together in 2022, or even I can take on another client or two in November, let me know. I'll put the link here in the comments, and I will see you again next week. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. Talk soon.